Open your ears and lube up your butthole. It's time for the What Do We Call It podcast. Now, here's your host. It's Jmann. Welcome to the What Do We Call It podcast. I'm Jmann.
This is Steiny.
Hi.
This is episode 420. Which could not have come at a better time. Not because it's April 20th, but because I have some topical material to go with that. And what I mean by that is, so I'm sitting in my kitchen, and my daughters, 12 and 14, are sitting here discussing something with my lady friend. And one of them goes, oh yeah, by the way, Dad, Mom's got weed growing in her house now.
What?
Oh.
And I went, excuse me? So here's the setup. Her boyfriend, who unfortunately she hates that I bring this up, but he is still on parole for like another month.
Okay.
Coming off of a felony drug charge.
Oh, so, okay, they're growing weed.
Yeah. And he has told me, because I've talked to him, I wanted to get to know him if he's going to be around my kids. It's the least I could do. I did it with her previous boyfriends, the two of them, where I talked to them. I just think it's a rule that if you have kids with somebody and they're dating somebody new, you need to establish right out of the gate some form of rapport with them, so it doesn't feel like this sense of secrecy and we can't talk about this, we can't talk about, like, you need to know who I am, what I'm about, and what I expect out of you around my kids.
Sure.
So he told me that his PO knows that he smokes weed and has recommended that he get his medical card, which he did.
Okay, fair enough.
So instead of like prescription pharmaceuticals or something, he's got weed to kick back and relax. And I'm just saying this now. I'm very pro marijuana, but there's a fine line between my political stance on it and when it involves my children's other home.
Sure. Yeah.
And their mom has a history of substance abuse. So when they're like, hey, Mom's got weed growing in her house, and I'm like, what the fuck? I tried to broach the topic, but it did not ever seem like there was a good time. So I just kind of let it fly in the middle of a text when we were arguing.
Okay.
I'm like, and by the way, I know about your little weed grow in the basement. The girls let me know. And in typical, predictable beast fashion.
Deny it.
No.
Oh.
She's like, it doesn't matter. It's fucking legal. There's nothing you can do. It's fucking legal. He can have those plants. Everything's legal. His PO knows. And I'm just like, well, she's got me there. It is legal.
Yeah, now.
And you can have X amount of plants that you grow personally. But I asked the girls about it, and all they would say is, well, we know it's downstairs, but we're not allowed to go downstairs.
Okay.
Which is both a help and a hindrance to my anxiety on the issue.
Right, because you don't get many details when it's that way, but at least you know they're being kept separate from it, right?
Possibly.
Yeah.
Because what I came to learn is that there was a grow in the basement, in the laundry room, which was a room that has no lock. 3 children reside there part of the time, the youngest one being 8.
Oh.
And I was told they're in a tent and there's a lock on the tent. And I'm just thinking to myself, that doesn't seem very secure to me.
No, what they're saying, a lock on a tent. So when they say a tent, it's a zipped up enclosure, right? That's got reflective material on the inside of it. And yeah, you have, it's like a normal zipper. You could probably put a lock in there to close it so somebody couldn't open it, but I can't imagine anybody's really doing that.
Well,
regularly.
It's probably a fucking like a suitcase or a luggage lock.
Exactly.
Which anybody can get one of those keys. They're not secure. You'd have to have one of those like small locks with like 3 or 4 number combinations.
Yep.
And even then, it's you just rip the fucking zipper off or pull and the zipper splits.
Do you think your kids would be willing to do that?
No, but I don't know who else is in her house, and you never know what's going on, because if there's 8 plants growing in her basement, and I'm estimating, I believe that's what it was.
Yeah, that's the legal amount.
And she wasn't telling me that it was there and tried to basically hope I wouldn't find out what's really going on and what else is down there.
Right.
Because saying they can't go downstairs, given the past with the meth and the ex-boyfriend that used to choke and beat her and shit, and that they fucking got busted by the cops in a bedroom with haze in the air and paraphernalia on the goddamn dresser, we all have come to the conclusion methamphetamine was being smoked in the house.
Right.
and it soaks into everything.
Yeah, yeah.
The fibers of the
chemical.
carpet and the drywall and the ceiling tiles and all that shit. So it made me really nervous. And I asked the girls, how do you feel about that? And my oldest is like, I don't want it there. Like, why? She's like, I don't want drugs in the house. I'm like, but Mom says it's legal and it is legal. She's like, I don't care. I don't want it in my house. I'm like, okay, well then you need to say something to her.
Sure.
And she didn't want to. Their response was that if we say anything, she's just going to yell at us. And honestly, that's not too far from what would typically fucking happen when they stand up to her. I just want to point out that Boomer will not stop meowing because he wants food.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to feed him because the other cat's locked up so she doesn't climb the wall outside the door and interrupt us. And I can't go old school and yell, Boomer, shut the fuck up, because he's 17 and a half and he's deaf. He can't fucking hear me anymore. So what used to be funny is now just like, well, you just got to wait for him to stop yowling.
Probably because you said his name a couple times.
Boomer, shut the fuck up. I question whether he's all the way deaf or it's selective hearing.
It's selective.
So we got to a point where I needed some clarity on this situation. And I called his PO.
Fair enough.
Because I let the beast know that the girls weren't cool with it, and there was really nothing she said I could do about it. But I questioned the legitimacy of her telling me that her boyfriend's parole officer is aware of this situation. She's not known for her honesty and being forthcoming. It's usually, here's a lie, and you get caught in the lie, and then she uses another lie to cover up the first one. And it takes forever to just, if you would have just told me what the fuck is up right out of the gate, we wouldn't have to play these dumbass parlor games.
You bitch!
So I called the lady, and I explained who I was, and I explained the situation. I'm like, I'm not trying to be like the jealous ex. I don't care about her. I'm not trying to get your guy in trouble. I just want to know if it's on the up and up like they are claiming it is, because my daughters have a big problem with it being there given their mom's substance abuse history.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, so what are the legalities, now that the laws have changed, of somebody on parole for drugs growing marijuana? And here's the greatest answer ever. You know, I'm really not sure. And I was just like, are you fucking kidding me? I didn't say it to her, but in my head.
Yeah, you're thinking it.
You are working for the DOC. You are trusted to make sure that the people within your watch are following the fucking rules and not doing it. Like, your job isn't just to babysit them, but also, and they're not going to want to recognize this, help them get the resources they need to stay the fuck out of the clink again. They don't like to talk about the help them escape recidivism angle of this, but if you're a good parole officer, you're not just holding people's feet to flame. You're hoping to hook them up with enough shit so they don't go back to goddamn prison.
Right.
So I did say to her, I'm like, well, you might want to look into that, seeing as the laws don't catch up fast enough. Like internet culture, the laws can't keep up. Mm-hmm. So with the change in the drugs legality status here, there's a number of policies in the DOC handbook, I'm sure, that have not been revised to allow for this.
Yeah, I bet not.
But it's also not at all surprising to me that a government official has no fucking clue how to answer my question.
So often what happens is that they get ahead of it. Like you said, you can't keep up. So all of a sudden we've legalized it, but nobody figured to ask or answer all these other questions around it, right? And it's not just when it comes to this. There's many other things. I always wondered about driving and enforcement and testing when it came to under the influence while operating things. You know what I mean? We're definitely way ahead of asking those questions.
Yeah.
Right?
And it sucks because I would feel like the responsibility falls on the Commissioner of Corrections to sit there and go, we better figure this out because we got a lot of people that used to do hard drugs that are probably going to want to go back to weed, this reverse gateway mentality.
Yeah, supposedly, yeah. Yep. Well,
and then they're going to have something, and it's better than alcohol because it's technically not addictive. But then you got to factor in they're smoking it, they're growing it, there's CBD oil, there's Delta-9 gummies, there's edibles, there's all kinds of fucking marijuana products and THC products and cannabinoid-based oils and shit that you got to sit there and go, well, geez, if there's a cultural shift, and we've always been locking people up for this plant, because it's a plant. Nobody's going in a lab unless they're using advanced hydroponics to cross-pollinate new strains to make stronger weed.
They do.
But that's not the same thing as like the the pharmacology and chemistry involved in turning cocaine to crack or manufacturing methamphetamine or opioids that are derived from poppy seeds and then made into goddamn painkillers.
Yep.
So she was a dead end, and the kids were still pissed, and I'm like, I don't know what else to do. So I called their school resource officer because my daughter had been fighting with her mom about it via text. I'm like, this is so stupid that I have to sit here and get into an argument with another adult, and I have to do all this homework instead of her simply going, my daughters are against it. Like, you're basically putting your boyfriend's desires and needs first. Yeah. And your daughter's like, Mom, please don't. We don't want you to do this stuff. And she threw it in my face at one point. She's like, well, you told me you want me to smoke weed. I'm like, no. I said, I'm fine with you doing it to an extent because you're a better person when you smoke weed. You're not as edgy and bitchy.
Sure.
But at the same time, you still have a no-use clause in our custody agreement. And we bicker on that. The number one bullet point starts off with, respondent shall have no usage of non-doctor prescribed mood-altering chemicals or substances.
Yep.
Next paragraph. If during parenting time, petitioner suspects respondent of being under the influence at any time, he may immediately end the visit and ask for a drug test. They're not related. The one supersedes the other. Mm-hmm. And she's sitting here fighting with me via text about it. Like, no, that's just during my parenting time. I'm like, no, you don't understand. My lawyer purposely wrote that shit extra vague to be all-encompassing so you won't use. And you agreed to it. I didn't agree to shit. I'm like, the judge saw it and had no problem with this recommendation based upon your history of being unhinged and substance abuse tied into your mental health issues and how you become belligerent and sometimes assaultive. It's pretty much right there. So she has to argue with me on it, and there's nothing I can do unless I file a motion to go back and say, hey, she's been doing this. But even then, if she has negative drug tests, which is a whole nother episode that I will address soon about some things I found out. But if she's got negative drug tests, there's nothing I can do.
Okay.
So I called the school resource officer. He's been a cop in town for about 25 years at least. And I asked him, he's like, with me, I'm just going to tell you right now, I don't care about marijuana. I know what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. I'm in agreement with you. Right. I'm glad it's legal. You can go after hard drugs. He's like, exactly. He's like, but I don't know from what you're describing, them having it in the house, if there's anything that's illegal going on. I'm like, well, my kids are saying the house stinks like it.
Right.
My dad stopped by there to drop off a care package for her other kid with an Easter dress. And when the boyfriend opened the door, my dad said he got hit in the face with a cloud of weed stink. So that means the whole house reeks like it, and the kids are walking around in it. They're complaining about dry eyes and headaches. So are my kids getting like second and third hand exposure to their mom and her boyfriend's weed smoking? Scientifically speaking, it would sound that way if they're complaining about headaches and dry eyes and shit.
Maybe.
But again, with the fucking resource officer, dead end. He's like, there's nothing going on that I can see where she's doing anything illegal. And our daughter said, Mom, I'm not coming over then.
Okay.
And he's like, I mean, she could say that, but without a court order, there's not much you can do. And the beast knew that. She's like, no, you're fucking coming over, and if you don't, I'm going to take your phone and smash it.
Which is good parenting.
Right, and I got the screenshots of those conversations to prove it. And she listens to the show to find out what shit I talk about her. I found that out. I have no problem admitting this right now. I called CPS on her to tell them what's going on.
Okay.
But again, nobody's in the hospital. Nobody's hurt. They don't give a fuck.
Right. It's just your kids' wishes that aren't being honored.
And I shouldn't have to go to these extraordinary lengths of trying to find a way to stop her. Something in your head should click, like, my kids really have a problem, and I should stop doing this shit.
Right.
If you're going to grow it, I know it sounds dumb, but we're in the spring and summer months. Grow it in the fucking garage in your tent. Don't have it in your house. And definitely don't smoke it in the house.
Right. There are so many ways you can get around that.
Go out on the fucking back deck in the backyard. Who's going to call the cops on you?
Nobody.
I'm not.
Nobody.
Go smoke it in the garage. I don't give a shit. It's your house.
Yeah.
Just fucking do it outside. That's it. That's all I'm saying. It's just the same argument as our friend who has a significant other who likes to puff throughout the day.
Mm-hmm.
And they have a son, and he's very young. And it became an issue of, dude, your house reeks like weed. Your kid's running around. And, well, she only smokes it in the bedroom. I'm like, why is she smoking it in the house?
Yeah.
The last time I came over, I got smacked in the face like a Mike Tyson punch by the scent of marijuana. Well, I don't really guess. My nose doesn't work so well, so I guess I don't know if it smells that bad. And I told him, fucking tell her to knock it off. And then he asked you how you felt.
Yeah.
And you echoed my sentiment that even if you don't have a problem with it and she's not smoking it right around him, he's still exposed to it to some degree. And I wouldn't want that. And his brain's developing. You don't know what's going on. These kids' brains are all still developing.
Yeah, actually, that's one of the few things I've heard is that they suggest not smoking until you're maybe even your early 20s. And that's why it's a 21 up thing, because even your brain is still developing late into your teen years. And it has been shown to affect brain development.
Yeah, it alters the chemistry of your brain the same way that doing opioids does.
Yeah, rewrites you. Yeah, that's why I was not happy when I found out when my son was smoking. But in some ways, as a parent, and nowadays you go, well, thank goodness he wasn't drinking or he's not, you know what I mean? Like, or something even worse. Like you say, opioids or some type of other painkillers, right?
Fentanyl.
Yeah, like the last thing on earth you'd want your child to get into. So, in some ways it's like, okay, well, at least it was just weed, But then there's tobacco right behind it. So I don't know which one was the gateway for him, but yeah.
Well, we've reached the denouement of this story.
Okay.
Shit's about to get real. I was sitting at the table talking with my daughters. My girlfriend's sitting next to me. She's not really adding anything, but she is still sitting there to support me. And I'm telling them, if you have a problem with this, I've done everything I possibly fucking can. I have got nothing but dead ends here. If you want it to stop, I want you to tell her. I can keep telling her and we can keep fighting and she can keep making my life hell and threatening to drag me to court for this, that, and the other and all this other bullshit. But I'm sick of being the fucking voice of reason. You two need to advocate for yourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And immediately, my 12-year-old goes to sit on the couch and basically veg and tune it out. And my 14-year-old takes her phone. And I'm not paying attention to what's going on. I just see her get upset and go to her bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
And then I hear her yelling. And I'm like, shh. To my girlfriend, and I'm listening. She's yelling at
the beast.
I mean, fucking lighting her up for 3 minutes straight. About, I don't want you to have it anymore, and I don't like it, and I don't want to live in a house with that stuff, and just bam, 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 bullet point. Like,
wow.
Salient shit. Not just whining. And then she mic dropped it by fucking hanging up on her.
Oh, fantastic.
So I could hear
the beast
getting upset. Because it was on speakerphone, even though it was down the hallway and through a door. But I heard some. And then I get I'm kind of hazy on this because this is like a month and a half ago now. Long story short, my daughter's feelings got back to the boyfriend. And allegedly, he burned all the plants right then and there in her fire pit in the backyard. She's like, well, way to go, congratulations. It wasn't bad enough you tried to get him in trouble with his P.O. I'm like, no, I didn't. Yes, you did. No, I really fucking didn't.
Right.
Well, whatever. He burnt the plants. 6 months worth of grow gone now because you couldn't fucking deal with it. And I'm like, no, our daughters couldn't deal with it. Don't fucking put that shit on me. She's like, well, you can come over here and look. The plants are in the fire pit. And I was skeptical. Like I should be because this is her.
Yeah.
Because I told that to my daughter and she said to
the beast
another day, all of it, all it's gone. She's like, he burned the plants, and that's what's important, all right? Just don't worry about it. I'm like, okay, now we're using technicalities and double speak. So here's my theory. She gets off the phone with our daughter, blows her fucking stack, takes it out on the boyfriend. He trims all the leaves off, burns the stalks. That's technically burning the plant, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he's still got all of his fucking leaves from the 6 months of growing. And I don't know what the maturation rate of a marijuana plant is because I don't ever have any experience growing any weed.
Mm-hmm.
But 6 months, he's got to have enough that, they can still use for a bit.
Yeah, actually, 6 months is more than plenty. You think about that. That's March 15th to September 15th, which is a growing cycle. You know what I mean? 6 months is the normal maturation of a plant. It can go from like nothing to 6-7 feet tall.
And there's 8 of them.
Yeah.
8 fucking plants.
And technically he's, if since I really did a lot of research on this, the law states that you can have 8 plants, but you can only have 4 that are adult and flowering, meaning you can do 2 cycles of 4 plants. You can have 8 plants total, but you can only have 4 in adult blooming stage, so the other ones have to be juvenile.
Interesting.
So you can't even have that many plants at one time, like people think. You can't be getting that much yield.
I imagine if the state had a weed czar like they thought they were going to, and we had one for a few days, and then it was a lady, right? And she stepped down immediately.
Yeah, 2-3 days.
And I don't think they filled the position since.
No.
So the entire operation is in disarray. And that's why I think people are confused about that 4 and 4 make 8.
Yep. Absolutely.
Or that the DOC hasn't caught up because nobody's overseeing it. Like, hey, by the way, hey, law enforcement, this, that, the other. So really, I think he clipped the leaves and they stashed them to dry them out and grind them and smoke them, whatevs.
It was probably almost ready for harvest anyway, type of thing is what I'm thinking. And a lot of times you're not harvesting leaves, you're harvesting the buds. Some of the small little leaves that come off the buds you can use, but the main leaves you don't use.
Well, I don't know this. I'm not a weed guy.
I'm learning you. I'm helping you learn.
I learned something today.
Yeah.
Now, the last wrinkle here is that during this whole process, she was not working. She was unemployed, but she had money and was paying her bills. And I'm like, wait a minute. Are they growing weed so she can sell weed to have money and not have to work? Because it seemed like a sound theory, honestly. Like, no matter what she does, when I try to give her the benefit of the doubt, she does one or multiple things that shit all over me giving her a chance to fucking figure it out and do things on the up and up. And I don't like having to be at war with this woman. I don't care how much joy you hear in my voice when I talk shit about her, name call her, or mock some of the dumb fucking things that come out of her mouth. There's nothing great about trying to co-parent with somebody that is your polar opposite personality-wise, and their moral compass always points south.
Yeah, it's really difficult when you have to have difficulties just for the sake of having difficulties. Like, there's stupid things to argue about, other things that are more important that don't get addressed because of that shit. You know what I mean? So, yeah, it's tough.
So the weed plants are gone, quote, gone.
Right.
I don't know what's going on after that. Her last drug test was negative. My oldest still reports she's getting headaches. But I think the eye itchiness and whatever the fuck else was going on is done. Nobody ever went to school and was like, out of it, or just craving cereal and talking about that. But still, I just cannot say enough bad things about parents that use that it's legal argument to anybody trying to stop them from exposing their children's developing bodies and minds to marijuana. It's juvenile to just say, well, that's legal. You sound like a fucking 14-year-old. You need to do better. You just go outside and blaze one up behind the garage.
You still have to be an adult. You still have to be a parent. You cannot use that it's legal to like, oh, it's fine. Like, there's no problems here. No, you still have to be responsible. Just like anything, right? Alcohol is legal. You still have to have it locked and put away or not have it accessible, right? For the most part. Guns, very much so.
Ammunition.
Right? Things like that. So let's not just wash our hands of responsibility like we like to do so often. You know, still be a parent. It may be fine for you, but you got to remember your kids don't have a choice, and you need to be better than that.
Well, and I don't think anybody should at any point be so swept up in the fact that they have a relationship. You have a responsibility as a parent before you do have any sort of duty to your boyfriend, girlfriend, what have you. Fucking be a mom, be a dad, keep the shit away from your kids, especially if if they know and they shouldn't know. If they know and they're that adamant about it. Because what if one of my daughters had said something at school and the admin listened up and it became a problem? You just put yourself in a position to have your boyfriend sent back to prison. He's going to lose the job he's got now. He's not going to see that 1.5-year-old son of his. You're going to be without him. You're losing your fucking house. Don't know where you're going to go. It's a whole nother thing. So just, people need to be responsible and think of their children first. Yes, you deserve to be happy and have joy as a parent, But you got kids, so it's not about you. And I can do that. Easy peasy. But apparently not everybody else can follow suit without a fucking struggle. What do you do? Interact with the show on Twitter at What Do We Call It? That is at What Do We Call It? You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/group/What Do We Call It podcast show. For the What Do We Call It podcast, I'm Jmann.
This is Steiny.
And that's the end.